What are you doing in there?
I'm waiting for that to warm up.
So what are we doing, bro?
We're driving from Portland, Oregon.
No, it doesn't look open, but the pump's working, so I'm putting gas in it right now. So we're just outside of Reno, just hanging here, flapping here. Now it's being held on by one bolt. Top piece is broken off right there. Just bringing this baby home to put to work. What's up, guys? All right, what am I doing with this 2024 Ram 3500 gasser? Well, that'll give you a clue. My truck has been in the shop for a month. Not my shop, it's been in a tranny shop for a month, because the last time I went to tow up the hill, my tranny started surging as soon as I had just a slight incline going up. Just going like this. And then if I backed off the pedal, it got a little less. I just kept going, thinking it's the lights or something weird. These older Dodges have weird issues. Well, I got all the way past Mitsubishi, halfway up the mountain, and I was floored in first gear. And that sucker was just wah, wah, wah. I got out at the biggest turnout knowing this is the last place I can turn around for a long time. And I checked the tranny fluid, and it was, I couldn't barely touch the dipstick. In fact, I couldn't. I pulled the dipstick out and like dropped the thing on my feet. It was so hot. The fluid was super thin, super hot. It didn't smell burnt, but it was hot. Here I am thinking transmission blew again, right? So I didn't take it back to the place I went the first time. That's tried twice. So now it's 2 years later, 2 trannies later, it's doing something weird, right? So I take it to this other tranny shop, and the guy tells me I can fix it, no problem. I don't care how much it costs. He quoted me $5,500. I go on vacation for 2 weeks, didn't hear a thing. Texted him over the vacation, didn't hear a thing. Got home, texted him, what's up? Didn't hear a thing. Next day, texted him again, didn't hear a thing. So now I'm getting kind of frustrated. So I call him, and I guess his thing was, look, if you let this thing get below a quarter tank, it'll surge. But if you don't, it'll be fine. And I said, it's never done that before. He goes, well, your pickup tube's too short. I said, then why did it surge? And then I drove another 20 miles flat without the trailer after I unhooked it, and I floored it, did all kinds of things, and it didn't do the same stuff. It would have ran out of gas if the pickup tube in the tank too short. Something going on in the tranny, and no check engine lights. Been there now over a month. He's telling me it's fixed and I have to keep it above a quarter tank. I told him it's not fixed. And I told him, I know what you're doing, man. I know that you've got $1,000 in this truck. You've got man hours in this truck. You're pulling guys off. Can you check it? Tell me what you think. You're on the internet. You're coming in the morning. You're seeing that truck sitting there bothering you to death, and you want it out of there. I know. I've been there. But that's not the right thing to do. The right thing is to do one of two things. Either get it figured out and get it fixed. Somebody somewhere knows what's going on. So you got to find that out. Or give me my truck back, and we'll settle on a very small bill, because I'm not done with it. I gotta pay someone else now to fix it. So my tires have now built up. I have 2,000 tires sitting in my own lot. If you remember, I was hauling tires for my old competitor who's now out of business. So what am I doing? Obviously, I rented a big truck from Hertz, a Ram 350. It's a 2024. It's only got 1,400 miles on it. The thing is a dream to drive. And my normal tow hitch is in my truck at the tranny shop, but I'm not going by there. So I just bought this one from Harbor Freight for $150. And I measured the height off my toy hauler. It's the same as my trailer in storage, and I'm gonna go haul tires all week with this thing. I'm always the guy that goes and picks up my stuff and says, okay, thanks, and I pay and I leave, and then I figure it out later, because I want to avoid conflict. But I'm not doing that anymore. I've done it over and over and over my whole life. I'm always the nice guy. Okay, it's cool, thanks for trying. Pay him, you know. I'm not doing it. The chess move I'm making is I'm gonna let that thing sit in your parking lot. Yeah, he could just stonewall me and just wait a week, and when I call, say, come get it, I'm done with this thing. They also left my hood unlocked, and they took off, and the hood flipped open and damaged the truck. I don't know how bad. He said it's kind of wrinkled. I don't know. So I have all the power right now, and I don't mean to be a hardball guy. I don't mean to be a hard-nosed guy, but when someone puts you in this position, you got to make a wise choice, an ethically wise choice. That's my conviction. I want to do what's right, but I want to do what's right by me as the customer too. So that's where we're at. So we're going to use this beautifully comfortable truck to go haul tomorrow. And I've been looking at used trucks online. I'm hoping he calls me sometime in this week here where I'm silent and says, hey man, I figured it out. My buddy at this other shop had the same thing happen, and it's fixed. Come, I'll show you it's fixed. I'm hoping that happens. I'll pay him the 5,500 bucks. I'll be happy. Because they did rebuild the tranny. He sent me videos that I can use, showing you guys. But I'm assuming that's not going to happen. And I'll try to figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, it might just become my junker that I use to drag my dirt road with. And then I'm gonna have to buy another truck. So anyway, I'm boring you to death. I'm frustrated, but I'm in control, which is something I don't normally do. I normally just go pay and pick it up, but not this time. Harbor Freight stuff, I always question. You know, I bought that trailer and some of the welds on the trailer were like licorice. You could just barely grind them and push. But this thing is a tank. Gonna work just fine. I gotta make sure I have enough chain because this looks to be a little longer than what I'm used to. I think I'm gonna be okay, but one thing I can't figure out is what is this bolt for? It's in the kit. I like that. So after all that, bringing extra tools, I forgot my key. It's on my other Dodge key ring, the only truck I own that would tow this trailer. So I brought extra chain and I brought a grinder in case I have to cut the chain longer. So this is going to be my key today. There we go. Looks like it's a little too low, so I'm going to raise it up a little bit. That's just the extra one. That's the highest, well, yeah, that's the highest point. That's probably going to be it. I'm very curious to see how this 2024 heavy duty, just for the heck of it, 3,500 gasser with a tow haul package tows this trailer. My 22-year-old truck, stock gears, 33-inch tires, pretty much stock everything. As long as the tranny was working, towed it really, really well. So we'll see how this goes. So this thing's got a backup camera. I just couldn't tell how close I was, and now I can see, so. Gotta find something to put in there. Let's see. Okay, so this will fit here, right? Okay, that makes it. See if this chain will make it. Oh man. Yeah, we're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to lengthen these chains because they just don't quite make it all the way. I really should be wearing glasses. So far the truck's not sagging like I thought it would. Never ends. My phone's in there ringing off the hook. But this has got to get done. There's a lock because I don't have anything else. There we go. All right, let's get on the road. It's been sitting here for a month, so I need to check the tires, make sure everything's good. Check that no one unhooked any of these latches. Okay. Uh-oh. I don't see any lights. Blinker. Okay, lights are working. Good. Let's see how the Gasser 3500 does. I'll keep you posted. All right, I'm cruising along at about 65, which is 10 miles an hour faster than I would be going in my diesel. And we're at about 2,800 RPM. My first impression towing the empty trailer that weighs 3,600 pounds is this truck doesn't even feel it. So pretty impressed with it. Just got it in tow haul mode. I am going uphill. It's not super steep yet. We are going to get to the steep part up in that canyon where we got the switchbacks and all that stuff. So far the 2024 with the empty trailer is feeling pretty good. All right, so we are on the steep part now, coming up to the switchbacks. And normally my truck's going about 33, 35 here. So we're at 2,700, doing about 40 with the same amount of input on my foot. So, and the transmission seemed to drop down the gear at the perfect moment. So yeah, this truck's better. The gasser, obviously, huge gap in technology, but yes, this truck is towing with less effort, faster, and I can't tell you how much more comfortable it is to drive. So $80,000 truck versus my $10,000 diesel. So here, just drop down a gear, and I'm letting off the gas because it's revving to the moon, and it shifts the second, and we're good. So we're gonna come up on these switchbacks, and here comes the first switchback, and they just get steeper as you go. So if you drive like you are towing, it's pretty effortless. The truck does a lot of the thinking for you, and it seems like they've got it really dialed. The one thing I'm not familiar with is the trailer brake system on this truck. I don't know how to increase it or release it. I'm going to study that when I get to work. So this is the big steep one right here, 16%. Of course, camera never ever does it justice. So kick down a gear, it'll rev, and then we'll shift second. Coming down is when I'm going to need to know how those trailer brakes work. The controller here on the dash, how that works. I'm also curious to see, there is a manual shift option built into the steering wheel right there. That's going to be important because the trailer tire is going to want to push this thing down the hill for 30 minutes, and that's the worst thing you can do, is ride the brakes for 30 minutes. I also have 4 low option. If this truck just can't handle the downhill push, I can put it in 4 low and really creep it. All of that's a mystery. We're gonna see. Now I'm now at the top of the first section. The rest of it's pretty easy, even though it does climb a little more. We'll check back in after we load these tires. All right, well, we got a full load in there. Got 200 tires. So it's dropped in the rear. It's not nearly as bad as my truck does. It's dropped. Airbags, if I had owned this truck, airbags would be a must. But the load's pretty level, and just pulling it out of the garage felt like it had plenty of power. So let's put our Harbor Freight hitch to use. Hopefully it holds. All right, I'm gonna head down the hill. So I figured out the trailer brake system on the way over here, and I got them adjusted to where they need to be. And I figured out that manual shift. We'll see if that's enough, or if we gotta go, honestly, to 4-wheel drive. What's going on here? Oh, I don't like this. That's hokey, but it's better than nothing. As far as towing it flat, this thing is towing it effortlessly. I know that the trailer weighs right about 11,000 loaded, and I know this thing's rated for way more than that, but a bone stock truck towing 11,000 pounds, a gas one at that, this effortlessly, to me, is pretty impressive. All right, I just gave it a little test, a first gear down a hill test in the neighborhood, and it's not gonna do it. It's trying to push it through the RPMs in first gear. I'll play with it for a minute, but I'm probably gonna have to pull over and do a turnout. Use 4 low to idle down the grade for 25-30 minutes. All right, we're testing first gear, seeing if first gear alone can hold this trailer back. There's no way. See that? Yeah, there's no way. No way. And I'm not gonna ride the brakes for 30 minutes. So I'm in 4 low and third, and it's even trying to rev it out and I'm just gonna have to take my time and use the brakes often. This is better than nothing. And I'm just gonna let people buy every chance I get. So yeah, you have to have an exhaust brake even on this big beefy 24, man. It needs an exhaust brake to haul this load down this steep mountain. It's doing the job, it's just tricky. And that hitch is noisy back there. There's so much slack in that thing. Between all the connections, it's just sketching me out, but hit second gear here. So I'm flat now, and we'll go back to 4 low in about 3 or 4 miles. All right, I'm done. I dumped. Interestingly enough, this truck weighs exactly 2,000 pounds more than my truck, with the service bed and the extra 2 doors. So how did this truck do overall? Overall, I like it better than my truck, of course, but coming down the mountain with all of that weight, you have to have an exhaust brake. I'm not looking forward to doing this the next 4 days in a row. You know, I'm in and out of 4 low. Sometimes on those gnarly hairpins, the truck starts getting all wonky, womp, 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 because the axles are binding. So I would just hit neutral and let it coast around the corner with my foot on the brake, and then stop and put it back in drive, and then manually downshift it. So I'm doing a lot to keep the speed down, to not smoke the brakes on this thing. I even pulled over and let another guy go by. He had a 5500 Dodge Dually towing what looks like a catering trailer for like movies, which happens a lot in Big Bear. And he was going a little faster than me. I pulled over and let him go because I didn't want him to smoke his brakes. He was smoking his brakes because he doesn't have an exhaust brake. He's leaving it in gear and it's revving out, and he's keeping his foot on the brake for 20 minutes. So I just used 4 low, and it did still try to rev out. I combined some braking in there, and I think I'm good. I think it's gonna work, but if this was my truck, I'd go get an exhaust brake tomorrow. All right, it's been an entire week I've had this truck, and I've made 4 or 5 runs here, about 1,000 tires. And I just noticed that this top piece is broken off right there. So I'm gonna break that thing off, take this thing home, because now I have some time to work on this, because my truck is still in the shop. And there's a big question on whether or not I'm getting that truck back in working order, and if not, I have to buy a truck. So let's break this piece off here. All right, I ain't breaking it off, but I do have some chain here that I can use to kind of stabilize it, so I'm gonna try that. I do have something in my truck. Remember this? It's called a grinder. So we're gonna grind this piece off here. Here we go. Now the question is, how unstable are these walls right here? They're not that bad. They're not that bad. So this has been bothering me for a long time, because when tires come out of here, they actually hit that, and that's what ended up breaking that. All right, I better just take this up to my house, which is always a pain in the butt, but gotta do it. I think I might just carry one of these things everywhere I go. All right, so the point is, I just spent a week emptying my entire lot. I have like a half a run left. So that's gonna give me like 3 weeks, 4 weeks where I don't have to dump, and I can work on the trailer. So, and in that time, I'm gonna either have my truck problem solved or a new truck. And if I do get my truck fixed, I still might get a new truck. I'm just so impressed with this brand new Dodge and how the trailer brakes are integrated into the dash. and the horsepower of this thing, and it's a gasser, so I couldn't imagine a diesel with an exhaust brake. So let's take this trailer home and let's update you on the truck progress. I did talk to the tranny guy today, and I told him after doing some reading, I found a bunch of stuff. It could be like battery terminals, a dead battery. The throttle positioning sensor on the pedal may need to be reset. There's a way to do that. And I even told him, look, if it turns out to be something stupid and I never even needed a new tranny, I'm gonna pay you for the transmission because I want that built tranny. So we'll see how it goes. It'll be a few days. I was getting upset he didn't call me for 8 days, and I saw the truck sitting there. On goes the saga. Hey everybody, welcome back. You're back from vacation. You can check out those videos here. We went through Hurricane Helene, we outran Hurricane Milton, and what an experience. Those videos cover all the trip and how it got canceled and then rescheduled and our flights got canceled and we stole a rental car. What's going on today? It's November 6th today. We all know what's going on today. We're gonna see how that goes. My truck has now been in the shop for 7 weeks. So where does that leave us today? This transmission shop has been telling me it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this, and now we're at a standstill. He wants $5,500 to come pick up my truck that is still doing the exact same thing it did when I brought it to him. He did build the transmission. He sent me the videos. He did do the triple disc low stall converter. He put a new valve body in there. He did the shift kit. He did all new clutch plates and everything. Heavy duty everything. But when he put it all back together, it did the same exact thing. Told me it's the PCM, which is combined with the TCM. They said they searched all the wiring looking for shorts, didn't find a thing. So we're at a standoff, and I can't afford to be at a standoff. I had to finish up the Mercer tire job so I can get paid for that, and then I had to take away 1,000 of my own tires that have piled up since my truck's been in the shop. So today, I brought my trailer home because a piece broke off, and then my wife has been hounding me for actually a long time, like maybe a year or two. Just buy a truck, honey. Just buy a truck, honey. I don't want to spend $100,000. What happened to truck price? I'm not doing that. I just don't want to do it. But I did do this. After renting that truck, I was really impressed. The comfort of the ride, the convenience of all the amenities, just the newness, man. I've been driving this other diesel truck since 2017 when I bought it, and it's done a ton of work for me. I just figured like the longer I'm driving this truck, I'm winning because it's free. But now it's got me in a bind. My truck is sitting over at that shop. So what did I do? I went out and bought a truck, and I did my research. I looked at the Dodges, I looked at the Chevys, I looked at the Fords. Between 2017 and 2020, Ford made a batch of trucks that were just really sweet. And in the F350, you can get with a high output option, which makes it 450 horsepower. It comes with an exhaust brake. I have read that it's not that good. Now, I've seen some videos of guys using it, going down these grades, get like 40 miles an hour with like a 30,000 pound trailer, and it's working. I can hear it working, but my grade's different, remember? My grade is 16% in some spots. So I found the truck. I found the 2019 F350 Super Duty high output with 76,000 miles on it. You're either gonna get a new truck and spend $100,000, or you're gonna get a beater truck with 200,000 on it for 30. Or if you go in the middle, you can get a really nice truck with a lot of life left in it and pretty new. So I got the 2019 F350 Super Duty high output. My son and I flew to Oregon to get it. I did the whole deal over text. The whole thing was done in less than an hour, and here's some of that video right here. What are you doing in there?
I'm waiting for that to warm up.
So what are we doing, bro?
We were driving from, I forgot where we landed, Portland, Oregon, all the way to Apple Valley, California.
Why are we in Portland? Why did we fly to Portland?
Because someone bought a truck because the other one died on him.
That's right. So he's right. We caught a plane today and we flew up to Portland. We picked up a truck and then we drove 6 hours to Lakeview, and we're at Best Western right now. Tomorrow we're going to drive all the daylight hours because I don't want to drive at night. I get really tired and fall asleep. and that'll put us around Bishop, and then Sunday we'll drive 200 miles home, which will just take a few hours. All right, we've been on the road for a few hundred miles, and I left town with a quarter tank thinking I'd have plenty. I just want to say something about this truck. This thing is so cherry, so great.
I love driving it. It is so choice.
I'm playing with all the systems as we're driving. But I left town thinking, oh, we'll find diesel. And I was down to 100 miles left. And Reno was like 95 miles away. And then we came across this place, which, if you were to see this, would you think it's open? No.
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 Doesn't look open, but the pump's working. My son's using the bathroom. Just bringing this baby home to put to work. Figure out what to do with the other truck. I'm gonna drain the yellow tank, fill the green one, and get back on the road. They have I'm thankful for the basics. They have gas. They have a bathroom here. The bathroom could use a little bit of work. Ow! Just a little bit of TLC.
Housekeeping?
Again, I'm thankful for it. We're back on the road. Don't forget your clothes. All right, we're waking up in the beautiful town of Bishop. It is beautiful. We came in late, didn't get to see much. This is our bedroom window. Got the bowling alley right over there. Got the montañas up there. So this is our last leg of our trip. Leg 1 was flying up. Leg 2 was driving down through Oregon, then down to Bishop, and here we are on our way home. Why did we go out of the way and fly somewhere up another state and buy this truck? Why didn't we just buy any truck?
Because the high desert doesn't sell good cars anymore.
It's real clean. You can work on it. It's whatever. The things are not packed real.
Right.
It was a really rare model of a truck.
Here are all the reasons why I didn't just buy any 3500 Dodge Chevy Ford other than this one. So a lot of you guys are probably like, hey, if you're gonna buy a truck, why won't you buy the Cummins? And I actually wanted the Cummins. I wanted the bigger 410 horsepower Cummins. And I looked and looked and looked. And I heard the exhaust brake was better, which, as you have seen in this video, the exhaust brake is a big deal to me. But I could not find one in my price range without having like 200,000 miles on it. Now I know they're good trucks and I know they'll go a long way, but I wanted a lower mileage truck. The reason why I ended up with this F350 is in 2019, we're pre-COVID, so there's no quality issues. There are some quality control issues in trucks manufactured during the COVID years. And then there's part availability issues because during the COVID years, they shut down for a while. In the automotive industry, I see this all the time. So there's plenty of parts. There was not a quality control issue during the 2019 vehicles. And this 6-speed transmission has a reputation now for being very, very reliable as opposed to the newer 10-speed transmission. Also, this truck can be tuned and modified very simply for not a whole lot of money. Where the newer stuff now, the manufacturers are making it very difficult to modify these engines and tune them, especially here in California. This truck also had the benefit of being a little lighter because it has an aluminum body. And then when I learned that they had a 450 horsepower option, I was pretty much sold. And I was like, okay, I'll deal with the possibly weaker exhaust brake, but I want the 450 horsepower. I want that 6.7 liter engine because my work truck that I drove for a year working for a tire supply company was awesome. So I began to do some research and I looked over the whole country thinking I'll go anywhere to get the truck I want. And I found this truck with 76,000 miles, 450 horsepower, 4-door, 4-wheel drive in Portland, Oregon. Like I said before, I made the deal. We flew up and we picked her up and here we are coming home with her right now. Oh, beautiful morning. About to take off here. And this thing came with 65 on the front, which is about right with that big motor, but 80 in the rear, which is right if you're under max load, like a 2,000 pound pin weight or bumper hitch weight. And the light comes on if you drop them below 80, which is stupid. They should give you a lower threshold. I can actually program this thing to drop that threshold, and that's what I'm going to do. Because I just dropped them to 45, which is what I think is fine with an empty bed in a big truck like this. We're going to see how this thing rides now. It still rode pretty smooth coming down. I was very amazed knowing there was 80 in here. But I went ahead and just dropped them to 45. We'll see how that goes. While I did that, I noticed this. just hanging here, flapping here. Now it's being held on by one bolt that's super tight, but the rest of this needs to be, it's very simple fix. So I don't know what the story is here. People do weird stuff, you know, they'll steal one of these because they're missing one or something. Or they backed into deep snow and ripped them apart, I don't know, but I'm gonna fix this. Ah, that's what they did. All right, so let's go look at the other one. It's kind of finagled in there. Would you look at that?
Would you look at that?
All right, we'll check on those on our next stop. If I had tools, I'd just take them off, but I don't. You know, hopefully they stay. I bet you they're expensive to replace. Let's get out of here. All right, we stopped here in Lone Pine to eat, and that Carl's kicks butt, man. They know how to make food and keep a clean restaurant. And I'm just checking my mud flaps. Looking good. All right, it's fixed for now, but I'll get those bolts in there. They're little puppy dogs. You would think when you stop here and you have a pet, you want to walk your dog in the park over here so your dog can do its business, but no dogs, no dogs, no dogs, no dogs. Those big 2x2 bars up there. When that one broke, these walls can flex, you know, obviously you understand that individually. When the gate's shut, it doesn't flex at all because those latches are so positive. But here, you know, I used the 1x2 here and I can already see a spot. We'll go over and take a look at it. That sucker's already cracking. So I'm like triple welding these things because this trailer just takes such a beating. And then I'll grind it all down, make it look pretty. But because the bar was down here, when the tires would sometimes come rolling out, they would hit this bar and it kept bending and bending and bending, and then it just finally broke. That one's not gonna break. My original plan is to replace this one too. I don't have time to do it today, so, oh wow, look at that. Maybe I'll just reinforce this with some gussets or something for now and then just see how far we get. But that's what I should have done from the beginning. But again, I was trying to save weight. Now I got this thing, so weight isn't as big of an issue. All right. All right, I think that's gonna be strong enough. It's rock solid now. And then I reinforced that top one that was cracked up there. I think I'm gonna bring this home over Thanksgiving weekend and just duplicate this one more time in the middle. I got some grinding to do tomorrow, so I'm leaving this stuff out here and just clean some stuff up, and then we'll shoot all the spots that are bare with my spray can paint. But there she is, and man, that truck, I can't even, there's a camera that tells you where to point your tow ball when you're backing up. It gives you like a black arrow. I'll film that. And it lines you up with this. I don't know how it knows, but it knows. Maybe it knows too much. Anyway, super stoked on this. Just ignoring my tranny issue on the other one for now. So this is test number 1 with the new 2019 F350 Super Duty high output. Yanking the trailer up to Big Bear today empty, and we're gonna see how she does. I got underneath the thing and I saw that there's airbags already on the truck, and I have to figure that out because they don't come with airbags. So let's do test number 1. All right, so the flat ground review is the truck doesn't even feel that trailer back there. I'm at 1400 RPM, doing about 60 miles an hour, barely giving it any gas. You know, all these guys say, oh, my truck doesn't even feel it. Well, this one actually, okay, I can barely tell it's back there. Accelerating, everything. Very comfortable. Truck is like driving a luxury car. So we're gonna head up the mountain, way over there, and see how she does. All right, in 2016, I took a new job during the time I sold this business for 5 years. And I worked for a company called Borg Equipment, and it was my job to drive around all these automotive and tire shops and offer tire repair supplies and equipment, lifts, anything for a shop. And I really liked that job, but what I remembered was they had given me a 2015 F550 box truck, and it had a 6.7 Power Stroke in it, and I loved that motor. That thing weighed like 30,000 pounds with all the equipment I drove around, and I loved it. So that was one of the reasons why I started to look at Ford over the Cummins. And since 2015, they have ironed out a lot of stuff with this engine. So I'm doing the slight grade right now, and normally in my Dodge, I'm going about 55, and I'm at about 2,000 RPM. In this truck, I'm going 65, and I'm at 1,600 RPM, barely giving it any gas. So this thing has got tons of power again. Let's see how we do when we get to the steep switchbacks up there. And what's really cool is when you run this thing in gauge mode, you can keep an eye on your tranny temperature right there. So I'm going to stare at that thing all the way up, see how it does. All right, there's only you can only go so fast coming up this hill because there's so many steep turns. So really, it's not how fast can I go uphill. It's how much effort does it take to go up this hill. And this thing is twice the power of my Dodge. I'm barely giving it maybe 10% throttle. And between the turbo, which is barely showing any boost down there, and between the gearing figuring itself out in tow mode, I mean, I'm normally going around 32 to 36 right about here. I'm at almost 45 miles an hour with hardly any effort. This thing is a dream. You know, the camera never does it justice. This is very steep right here. The truck just shifts, downshifts on its own, and we're back up. Just literally, this truck is yanking this trailer up the hill very effortlessly. So tranny temp hasn't even budged. Now it is cold out, it's in the 40s because it is winter. The two big switchbacks, actually it's three, the three big switchbacks are coming up, and I'm glad this guy already did them before I got there. They're right up there, so we're gonna do those switchbacks, see how she does. All right, here's the switchback right here. This one is the least steep. Another issue I have is the 7-way plug is too short. My regular hitch is still in my truck with the bad transmission, and with that hitch, the trailer plug is no issue, but I bought this other hitch to use with the rental truck, and the pigtail for the trailer just a little too tight, and doing these turns makes me really nervous. So I'm trying to take them as loose as I can so I don't jackknife the trailer and break my cable back there. So I'm going to get an extension temporarily for that. So here's the big one. Here's the big 16% grade one right here. Yeah, this thing's just romping. Barely giving it any gas. It's just doing all the work. This is the one where all the trucks get jackknifed on. Yeah, so much. I mean, just as like the bumps in the road make my foot push, like my foot vibrates, and just the little tiny bumps my foot vibrates gives input to the gas pedal, and it responds immediately. So this is so nice, just having all this power. I hope this truck is just issue free and lasts me a long time. So the next measure is going to be coming down. I'm only going to load the trailer half full and see how it does. Alright, yeah, so tranny temp, the highest it got was 216 on the steepest part. And it is winter, so we'll see in the summer, but that's just an update on that. I'm already stressed trying to go down the hill with this thing, and then I pull out the back, and sure enough, I blow a tire. I think it was already low, and then when I went over the hump in the back, it de-beated the tire. So I went around the corner, came right back in here, getting the tire on it. These others all need tires too. I've known it's needed tires for like a year, and I just, you just keep going and going. So we're putting tire on it. I might need to put, I might just do this one while it's here. That one's looking a little, uh-oh. Yep, we better do that one too. Look at that right there. All right, so this is where the rental truck, the gasser in first gear without an exhaust brake at all, wasn't equipped with one, would just take off in first gear. So I'm in first gear and I don't even have the exhaust brake on, and this has an exhaust brake. And so far, I'm really impressed. It's, I'm having to give it gas. You can hear I'm having to give it gas to get the thing to go. So we're just gonna play with it like this, and then I'll play with the exhaust brake when it gets really steep. But I might have to shift up to second. Let's just try. Manual shift up to second. See if it holds in second. So second gear back there was a little too fast for me. What if I hit the exhaust brake in second gear? Exhaust brake on. I'm gonna drive and I'll update you. So second gear with exhaust brake on is just about perfect for the top part of the steep. And then we get to a flat and then another really steep part. So this second gear I can deal with. I'm in manual second, tow haul mode with exhaust brake on. And it's holding me back right at like 1600 RPMs. And now I'm gonna get to the flat section and just go normal. All right, so that upper level steep section is a maximum of 12% grade. Pretty steep. That worked pretty good. The real test is coming up. The real test is gonna be the bottom part of the steep section with those switchbacks. That is up to 16%. All right, so guys, I couldn't be happier. Second gear, exhaust brake, steepest part of the mountain right here, and it's holding it under 2K at about 20 miles an hour. And I just didn't think this would ever happen. I've been struggling with this forever. And of course, there goes a nut job passing on a blind turn instead of reading my signs that say, just wait a minute. I'm stoked, you guys. There it is. Holding at about 1800. This truck was made to do what I'm doing with it, and I am very, very happy. I've had my new truck now for about a week. I just keep finding stuff. Like, I was reading this thing can tow 30K in the bed. You know, a gooseneck fifth wheel. So when I read that, I'm like, well, let me climb under and look at the axles and the leaf springs. And I found that there's airbags. I always get airbags on every one of my tow vehicles. It just takes a lot of load off your spring pack. And so I climb around under here this morning as I'm walking my little boopers. And I found that here's the airlines right here. So I was looking for a compressor under there, which is what I always do. But obviously here's left and right airbags right here. If I take my little compressor, first let's see if there's anything in them. I don't think there is. Yeah, there ain't nothing in them. And let's just see. I will add a compressor. I will add onboard air. I don't know if it's doing anything. Because it's just so much easier to push a button inside the cab. Okay, these, okay, this one took air. This one didn't take air, and I think it's because this isn't long enough. I just want to put 10 pounds in them. You should always run a tiny bit in there. Let's see if this is, if I just had a straight nozzle, just shove it on there. Yeah, nothing. So let's just empty this one. Obviously, there are airbags here. You just need a straight nozzle, not one of these bicycle nozzles. And then the other thing was, I hate automatic hubs. I hate those dumb things. I just happened to notice this thing's got a manually locking hub. Look at the dust down here. Woo! Got a little bit of wind and lots of dust because we haven't had any rain in months and months. So I'm gonna go dump my tires in this dusty crazy spot and get my brand new truck all dusty. Oh my God, I used to put this on the side of my truck so I wouldn't forget it, but this thing's aluminum, so it won't work. That's great. Let's shut these gates. So we'll put this thing back in the yard and we'll go home and sit in the spa. Here we go. It's hot. Sure is good though, after a long day of work. I think I'll just chill out here for a little while.
Several days later.
I'm also testing out this hitch I got off of Amazon. That one I got from Harbor Freight when I was in a pinch and I had to have one that day when I rented that truck to haul tires. It's nice and handy, but the thing's got so many connection points that it creates a lot of slack. And it's a 3, so you put the 3 in and then you put the reducer, because that's a 4, and then all those other connection points made that thing slap around and make all kinds of noise when you're loaded. So coming up the hill this morning, this thing worked great. We'll see how it goes going down. I like the compact design. And then I don't have to run an extension on my cable there that was stretched to the max because that other one was just too long. So all right, it's the end of this day today, and we loaded her again. And the reason why the right one's not taking any air is not because the fitting's too short, even though it is a little shorter. There's a leak underneath and I can't really see while the truck's on the ground. There's so much stuff under there. Sometimes when those bags get old and dried out, when they're ran empty, they flex a lot and they can crack right at the bend point. So we'll solve that on Friday. All right, guys, welcome back. It has now been 2 weeks I've had this truck, and I've done the lighter loads, the medium loads, and I've done a full heavy load where the trailer was almost 12,000 pounds. And it has performed flawlessly, towing the empty trailer up, towing the loaded trailer down, second gear, exhaust brake. Very, very thankful. Getting a little bit of rain today, kind of nice, because man, this desert gets dusty. So I'm heading back to get the last load of tires. It'll be the first time we've been able to get all the junk tires out of my yard since the beginning of summer. You can see a curtain of rain just draping across the desert here, which again is very, very rare, but super beautiful. So I'm heading over to get the trailer out of storage, and I did the exact same thing that I did last time where I lost the tongue lock key. So I pulled the hitch pin and I drove forward, after I unweighted the trailer, and the hitch is now locked into the trailer tongue. The whole problem is my Dodge Diesel that's still in the shop. I have all those keys organized, so my routine keeps me from losing them, but with the fob key, I don't have all my keys on here for my trailers and everything. So I just have to get that dialed and I'll quit losing the key. So we're gonna go ahead and cut her off of there, yank the trailer up, and do the last load. As far as my Dodge goes, it has now been in the transmission shop, I believe, about 9 weeks now. And he still has not called me. And it was 3 weeks ago I gave him a couple things to test, and he never called me back. And I'm torn with what to do. I still feel like I should play the long game until he calls me and then maybe try to settle with him. But I want him to be the one that wants to get rid of my truck off of his lot more than I want to go get it. It's stupid. It's stupid, dramatic mind games. But I'm so busy, I don't have time to think about it. So buying this truck has given me the luxury of just taking those thoughts and throwing them in the future. So a lot of this is for my own peace of mind. But I know it's getting long in the tooth now. We're almost 3 months it's been sitting there. And I guarantee you he's not doing anything. He's just sitting there. And he's thinking, that's $5,000 sitting there. Well, it's not. It ain't gonna be. What it's gonna be is gonna depend on how he decides to go forward once I give him his 2 options. So I'll keep you posted on that. But for now, I'm driving this awesome, comfortable truck. Got the partner right there. She's going with me to get tires. Shop's doing good. It's very busy. Hopefully I won't lose these keys. Alright, let's put some in there. You are not gonna believe this. I just found these keys under my seat. And there it is. Jesus. Alright, so I'm gonna pull forward. This doesn't seem to be locked in all the way. Yeah, so I just cut that for no reason. Alright, sometimes when you're in a hotel room with your kid, you gotta party. Garlic bites. chicken and cheese, pizza, all kinds of dipping sauces, and a movie. How great is that?
Like and subscribe.